All right, so thank you for tuning into Chompin at the Bit. This is episode number 84. I know it's been a couple of days since you guys heard my voice. Well, I'm back. On this episode, then we're going to touch on something a little different. We're going to talk baseball, actually. And actually, I don't know. This might be the first episode where I've actually talked about baseball. If I've done other ones, it's been a while for sure. So definitely get into that. I know some of you might be thinking, why baseball out of the blue? Well, if you didn't know, what was it last week? Fernando Tatis Jr. Signed that mega deal with the San Diego Padres. What was it, 14 years, $340 million. So with that signing, it got me thinking that I would do an episode about baseball and kind of where I think they are lacking in terms of news, like Fernando's deal and what they should be doing with him. It'll make more sense once I get into it. But I guess quick little backstory. As I said, I think when I first started, I basically watch any sport that I played. So I played baseball as a kid. Ken Griffey Jr., favorite baseball player. But of course I repped my Red Sox, so Nomar, Mo Vaughn, and all those guys, like them, Pedro Martinez. So I do follow baseball. I will. I know. Was it last season? I didn't talk much about it only because it was all the sports were jam-packed together. This year I do plan on doing some baseball talk once the season gets going underway, but I felt like the Fernando Tatis deal was a great starting point for, I guess, something that's kind of important, where it seems like with baseball, they've always been seen as America's pastime, but we all know that's not true anymore because football's more popular, basketball's more popular. You include the world stage, soccer is more popular. Yeah, so if you look at baseball, it's probably a distant fourth for sure. Now, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still more popular than hockey, but I'd have to look at numbers on that. And it's kind of interesting that I've wondered why that was. And I think it has to do with better marketability in other sports. Like if you watch football and, I said the name Tom Brady, you automatically know what I'm talking about. Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Russell Wilson, guys like that. Basketball, LeBron James, Giannis, who that is, Luka Doncic, Michael Jordan going back in the day. So those sports really prop up their stars. You see them on national TV games. They're the highlight of the week. The studio analysts talk them up, all that. This is an area where I think baseball falls way behind. I guess touching on soccer, I showed you a picture of Ronaldo, you would know, or Beckham, guys like that. So if you're looking at baseball, the biggest star past couple of years has been, I guess, Mike Trout. And to be honest, how many people, if Mike Trout walked down the street, would even know who he was, unless you live in Los Angeles and are an Angels fan? And I feel like that's one of the many issues with baseball. And I'm hoping with Fernando Tatis and that deal he just signed, he's 22 years old. It's one of the few 10-year plus contracts with the guy who's actually really young when he signs it. So I think baseball needs to use Fernando Tatis to try to bring in a younger crowd, because I guess the stats show that baseball's fans are the oldest of the major sports, which kind of feeds into some of the problem because baseball is very traditionalist. They lack in innovation. It seems like they're starting to turn the corner on that with the COVID season last year, where they had, what they do? They did DH, Universal, American League, National League. Obviously, they did that for just last season. They already came out and said that this year they're not doing that. I think that's a big problem. Nobody wants to see pitchers hit. Sorry. For every Madison Bumgarner who can actually handle himself at the plate, you have every other pitcher who goes up there and it will either, keep the bat on their shoulder, look at 3 strikes and walk back to the dugout, or will just swing wild, hoping to make contact and strike out. And in some cases, pitchers have gotten hurt trying to swing a bat. So I think baseball needs to do the right thing. Just put a DH, both leagues, just run with it. Another reason, kind of with Tatis, why he should become the face of the league. He is one of the few players that has actual, flair and personality, even though one of the many reasons that baseball's kind of being held back, they frown upon that, which I think is the dumbest thing. All the traditional fans don't like to see, bat flips off of home runs. They don't like to see, guys slow playing it as they're watching the ball go over the fence. All that kind of stuff that makes it fun to watch on TV or creates an electric atmosphere for those who go to the ballpark. I think baseball needs to embrace that and let these players just show their personalities. Like, think of Gronk in football. If we didn't have Gronk's personality, what would he be? He'd be just a regular guy. But because of Gronk's, party animal, jock persona, he's a big, big star. And I'm pretty sure baseball has guys that have a great personality, and those are the ones who should be, kind of put in the spotlight. Now, from everything I've understood about Mike Trout, he's kind of a I don't know how to put it. I want to say boring, but he's not one of the more exciting guys. Now, granted, he is talented. He can hit home runs, steal bases, plays defense and all that stuff. But to draw in fans, you need guys like Fernando Tatis, Jose Bautista, even like I said, Ken Griffey Jr., where, he makes spectacular plays in center field. He had the backwards hat going on, the cool batting stance and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, like I said, Ken Griffey was one of the guys. He's my favorite non-Red Sox player. And I liked him so much that even though I'm right-handed, I basically forced myself to try to switch hit so I could hit like Ken Griffey Jr. And baseball needs more influence like that to bring in more fans. So hopefully, like I said, Tatis is a guy who can maybe turn the tide. Like I said before, they have a lot of traditional rules that I think they need to do away with to make the game more exciting. And if they were to do that, that would definitely bring in higher viewership, more turnout at ballparks, and overall bring the game, I guess, back up to where it was remember the home run chase with McGuire and Sosa? Now, Sosa was kind of the flair of the duo. McGwire was just, your big, strong guy hitting the ball far. Sosa did the same thing, but Sosa had, the hand gestures and all that. Even Barry Bonds was a guy who, would hit his home runs, watch it at the plate, and then go around his bases and all that, and he was must-see TV. Now, unfortunately, all three of them got tied into steroids, which I think is another thing that is one of the things that's killing baseball right now, is that they're trying to act like the steroid era was not a thing. So now, what was this past year with the Hall of Fame vote? It was like the first class in, at least as long as I can remember, where none of the guys on the ballot made it into the Hall of Fame. I think that's kind of a problem, because now you're kind of asking voters to make judgment calls on who they think were clean and who weren't. I think that's a slippery slope. So I think baseball just needs to do the right thing and just let the guys in who deserve to be in and just call it a day. I mean, if you have to put something in the Hall of Fame museum about steroid era and all that kind of stuff, fine. But don't keep the guys out because they were part of an era where steroids were kind of an issue and they played during that time. It was just the environment of the game. Embrace it. What might be even the biggest issue for baseball is, like, if you look at football, there's always something going on. You have a kickoff. The guy will either, touch back or bring it out. There's a tackle. You probably get a commercial there. When you come back, there's going to the line, running a play, quick huddle, line up, run a play. So there's always some type of movement on your screen, which keeps people engaged. Basketball, constant up and down the floor, guys moving all around, setting screens, that kind of stuff. Movement, entertainment. Soccer, I mean, as much crap as soccer gets for 1-1 tie, 1-0 scores and all that kind of stuff, you can't say that soccer isn't exciting to watch, because they have no timeouts. So for 45 minutes in each half, guys are just going up and down, and the only time you really get a stoppage is if there's like a yellow card or a red card shown, or if a guy gets hurt and he's kind of just laid out and getting medical attention. That's the only real downtime in soccer. Hockey, same thing, up and down. Only downtime is the puck goes out of play, and even then they do a face-off, drop another puck, and they're going back and forth. Baseball's issue is you'll have the pitcher go out to the mound. He goes out there, it's, grabbing the rosin bag, getting powder in his hand, throwing warm-up pitches. Guys are just standing around waiting. Then you have a batter come up. Batter stands in the box. Pitcher looks in. All these signs go up. Pitcher goes into a windup, throws the ball, just like strike one or ball one. Then it's the batter backing up out of the box, nothing going on. Pitcher gets it, stands in, waits for the guy to get back into the box to get ready to hit. He does a couple practice swings. Then it's the same thing, hand signals. Pitcher winds up, throws the ball. So there's a lot of downtime in baseball, which makes it tough for people to watch at home and make it through a full 9-inning game. And if it goes into extra innings, which is even worse, because now you could talk about games going 4 hours, 4.5 hours, and some instances there's been games that have gone what was it, that Red Sox game against the Dodgers in the World Series, which went, was it 18 innings? I mean, that game lasted about, it was like 7.5 hours or something. So, and in this day and age of, you know, that'd be cool back in the day where there was maybe a couple of stations to watch, so you're kind of locked into one. But now, this day and age where multiple options, people could do a lot more channel surfing, and baseball kind of gets lost in the shuffle with games that long. Now, I do like the fact that baseball has decided to go with, if a team plays a doubleheader, the games will only be 7 innings long instead of going 9. I think that's smart of them. I know they've talked about pitching clocks. Don't understand why they haven't put one in yet. Of course, the traditionalists say, well, that's taking a big, I guess, part of the strategy out of it, which I think is stupid. But once again, traditionalists are holding up the progress of the game. So I feel like in some instances, recent years, baseball is starting to make little pushes to make the game better, but I think there's so much more that they can do. Like I said, pitch clock should be a must. The DH, American League National League, is a must. Well, one thing that they did put in, I forgot to say, I love the rule where, you know, a pitcher comes in, he has to face 3 batters before you could bring in another pitcher, because that was another thing that would drive me crazy watching baseball. You'd get to like the 7th inning and the starter gets pulled, so it's like a 5-10 minute affair. Relief pitcher comes in, warms up, then the batters in the box, they go. Then you would see the manager come out, take that guy out, bring in another guy, another 15-minute thing, him coming in, warming up. So I'm glad baseball did that. You bring in a guy, he faces 3 batters, then you could bring somebody else in. But like I said, so hopefully, you know, with the younger, I go back to the Fernando Tatis real quick. Back to the younger Latin player crowd, because a lot of the Latin players are the ones who like showing personality on the field, and we know, like I said, the traditionalists have issues with that. So I think as a newer crop of younger stars get into the league, hopefully that tide kind of changes a little bit, where it's not just the Latin players doing that, that now the younger American players play the same way, and it becomes more of a normal thing in baseball. Because I think ultimately, if they keep heading down the road of the traditional way, that they're going to fade so much further back. And I mean, I already said they can't claim to be America's pastime anymore, because they're like the 4th most popular sport. So yeah, but yeah, so like I said, Tatis, 22 years old, 14 years, $340 million. I guess quickly, it is kind of funny that I guess the kind of money that gets thrown around in baseball, and I guess since baseball's so hung up on like historical numbers of, you know, career home runs and all that kind of stuff, a lot of these players can get away with these big contracts if they never have any real success to go behind it, and it's fine. It's like Tatis, 22. If after 14 years he's 36 years old and San Diego doesn't win a thing, I'm pretty sure his legacy will probably be fine. Because, you know, he's been in the league, 2 years. He had like 22 home runs his first year, but that was only in like 89, 90 games. Then last year in the shortened season, he had 17 home runs in about think about like 60 games. So, you kind of extrapolate those numbers onto a full season, then he's definitely going to be one of those guys where, he could put up 35, 40 home runs, 100, 110, 120 RBIs. So I'm pretty sure in that 14-year span, he'll probably win an MVP or two. But unfortunately, baseball probably more than any other sport, a superstar can get neutralized because of the other 8 guys in the lineup or the other, 8 guys out in the field. If you're clearly the best player, then pitchers on the other team can pitch around and all that kind of stuff. Luckily, San Diego's kind of building a young core out there with Manny Machado, who is one of those baseball players I can't stand. But he is talented, got to give him that. Hopefully he lives up to the contract and get San Diego the ring that I'm sure they should be expecting with a deal like this. I mean, for a 22-year-old, it's a lot of pressure on him, but he seems like a guy who can handle it. And I think something that shouldn't be lost in all this is that his dad did play baseball as well. I believe he played with the Cardinals, and I know more for the Cardinals, so we'll stick with that. But so trying to see if there's anything else in baseball too. And as we're getting down to the end of February, I believe pitchers and catchers already reported. So, like I said, we're starting to get into baseball season now as basketball's coming up on their All-Star break. And I will just for my basketball fans, I know that the All-Star reserves were named tonight, so I'll do an episode on my thoughts on the All-Star teams, and I'll even do a mock draft for Durant and LeBron. I guess kind of the way that I see the draft going and how the teams will probably shake out. So we'll have some fun with that. Just quick side note. But like I said, I guess kind of to wrap up on this baseball talk to kind of kick off the baseball season. I remember, like I said, when baseball was cool with Ken Griffey, guys like that, even like A-Rod, Jeter, stuff like that. And then somewhere along the line, the game just got boring, this kind of stuff. So hopefully the guys in the office and who make the rules and all that can kind of wise up and see that there are changes to be made, and hopefully they implement them. So, like I said, I would like to see baseball come back up to where it was before. At least that way, you can have, baseball? Well, football usually ends at the beginning of the year, leading into baseball, which leads into the end of basketball, and then baseball takes over and that time before football comes, because past few years between basketball and football becomes downtime as baseball, like I said, has fallen off. So it would definitely make the sports calendar complete if they figure it out. So so congrats to Fernando Tatis. San Diego's a team on the come up. Just want to talk about that real quick to, like I said, kick off my baseball talk, because over the course of the off season I will kind of do of course any big trades happen in baseball, talk about that. I'll do more of a season preview as we get closer to opening day. We're not that far off. I'll work it into kind of the normal weekly talk, especially as spring training gets started, because at least at that point, there'll be maybe some guys who popping up on the radar to take a look at. So we'll talk about that. For my Red Sox fans out there, I will be watching them closely, as they did get Alex Cora back, and I think that's going to be a good deal for them. Hopefully they have a better year than last year, because last year was rough. I'm sure you guys know. So hopefully they turn it around. Let me see what else. So season preview. Then with that, of course, I'll go ahead and try to probably guess the playoff teams and all that kind of stuff. Maybe give World Series predictions. Just kind of the same stuff I did with football. We'll do that for baseball again. But yeah, that's, like I said, that's coming close to opening day. As I just said, we'll look at the all-star teams, do a mock draft to see how I think the teams will shake out. We'll do that this week. I think for my Celtics fans out there, I think it's getting to the point I might have to do a show on my Celtics, because there's some stuff going on that is a little troubling, but I also want to use the opportunity to talk to my Celtics fans and kind of calm them down, because I don't think it is as bad as it looks right now. So I'll give some reasons for optimism, and possibly some reasons to really actually worry about. And for those of you listening, if you do have a team that you follow and you kind of want me to do the same thing with your team, give you, because I guess as the first half is coming to a close, if you want me to kind of give like a progress report on your team and give you reasons to be optimistic for the second half of the season, kind of drop that down in the comment wherever you're listening, or as I always say, follow the show on Twitter and you can tell me there, and then I'll make sure I work your teams in over these next couple of weeks or whatever. What else? Well, I guess before I do end the episode, I probably should have led with this, but I'm sure most of you heard, I guess, what happened with Tiger. Tiger Woods, was in a car crash, and I guess he's having surgery on some leg injuries. He may have shattered his ankle or whatever. So, thoughts, prayers with Tiger Woods. Hopefully he has successful surgery and, he can get back to it. I'm sure, like most of you probably listening, if you watch golf, he was probably the one who turned you on to it. So, and he was as dominant in his sport for his run then as Jordan was in his 6 championships with the Bulls, as the Yankees were in the 90s where they were running off World Series titles. So always want to see dominant performers in their sport do well. I know he's getting up there in age, but I would love to see him have a couple more moments in his career, like that Masters win that he had 2 years ago. And so yeah, speedy recovery, Tiger Woods. But let's see what else. I mean, football, NFL always grabs headlines every week, so still talking football every week. Because like I said before, when last season ended, I feel like this football offseason is going to be crazy, especially the closer we get to the draft. So we will talk about that. I think I might have something on Carson Wentz trade. Yeah, I've already talked Carson Wentz some point this week, because I do not think I got a chance to really get into that last week as the deal was made. So I'll do that this week as well. I do have some thoughts on that one. Yeah, we'll save that for that episode. So I think it's a good point to end this one here. So for those of you, do apologize. It's been a few days of silence from me. Had some other stuff that came up, but like I said, hoping to get back to normal schedule this week, and then keep it going from here on out. So definitely hit the subscribe button or follow, like, whatever, wherever you're listening. Follow the show on Twitter to interact with me. If you prefer the YouTube channel, you can listen to the audio version on YouTube. If you prefer to do it that way, just go on there and search my name, Kyle Edwards. You'll find my channel. All the episodes are there for you, so you can go there. But if you're new, hopefully you like what you heard. If you like going back and listen to some other episodes, I'd appreciate it. And those who've been sticking with me, hope you're having a good one. So, as I always say, be safe out there. God bless, of course. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Like I said, we'll talk an NBA All-Star, so should be a good one. So, whenever you listen to this, hope you have a good day. Have a good night. Just enjoy yourself. All right. Catch you.